Hello everyone, Sewing Machine Garage here. About said vintage mixer routine. So I went back, I took my heat gun, I added more heat slightly longer, and was able to take my vice grips and I attached the vice grip to this hub right here. This is what I attached it to and pulled really hard and was able to get this thing to release. And I feel lucky that I did. Now, I noticed that the grease in this piece here is very dried up, almost gone. And yet the grease here seems very fluid. However, it's important to note that I think with all the heating, I think the heat actually helped to what's the word I'm looking for here? The heat actually helped to soften the grease, so I can't assume that the grease was in this kind of, shape. You look at it, it's like, is this bad grease? Oil is separating from it, and that shouldn't happen other than when it gets warm. But the machine had been getting, leaking oil when I was trying to run it to make a recipe. So my goal now is to remove some of this old stuff and to see if in fact, maybe this is what was causing the issue, of it not moving. And I'm going to hold this, and there's a big clump of it coming out. And this stuff is pretty thick. Now, grease is inherently thick, but I don't know. This stuff it's old, right? And, it's probably, I'm guessing at this, maybe grease is like sewing machine oil. As it gets old and as it goes through a heat cycle, that it turns brown. I suspect it was never clear when it was new, but I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'm going through this process. I'm going to remove the grease just like I was watching the gentleman on the video I was showing you guys in the last installment, and I'm going to see what I'm hoping that there's something going on with the grease here that was causing this thing not to turn, And I'm wondering if, this heat, I put a good amount of heat on this, if in fact the grease was already, at room temperature was so thick it was not allowing this machine to function properly. Ooh. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, doing this for the first time, never done it before, have no clue. Here's another gear, and we'll see. And I think the guy I was following along with, I think he actually has a method for detaching this, turning it upside down, which I'm sure makes it easier. So anyway, I'm going to go through this, guys. It's like watching paint dry, watching me remove grease perhaps. But I'm going to go through and get as much of this out as I can. And I'm going to be replacing it with a food grade grease, but I've got to get the old stuff cleaned out as best I can. And I don't have a degreaser, a formal degreaser. I may try alcohol and see if that will help. I don't know if it will or not. If not, I'll have to stop and find a place that sells a food safe degreaser. The new grease is also approved for use in equipment around food. And what a mess, Whew. And it smells like old grease. How old it is, I really don't know. I can't really tell. And then again, I'm going to watch, I'm going to go back and look at his videos, and he was taking all this grease out here. And again, it's kind of hard for me to tell. Was this grease too thick, or is it, because it doesn't look overly thick now, but again, I was warming it up. But I do know when I was trying to use the mixer, it was bogging down and oil was leaking, and that tells me that the old grease was basically unstable, right? It's grease, again, as I mentioned in the last video, is a combination of oil, it's a petroleum product, and then it's mixed with some form of solid, right? What that solid is, I don't know. I don't know if it was a clay or what it was. Could be any number of things. And it forms, a thick lubricant. But as it ages, it degrades like everything else, and when it does, it starts to separate, right? Kind of like the way milk will curdle. Sorry, it's the best analogy I can come up with. But anyway, I need to get all this old stuff out, and I have to remember to put quite a lot of new grease in. So I'm either going to turn this whole mixer upside down, or I may even investigate how I can get this off its stand. But the idea behind this is to get all the old grease out, put new in, and we will see what this machine is willing to do. If it's not willing to work, it may have other issues. But again, one thing at a time. I thought I would tackle this part first. And like I say, when you're working on vintage sewing machines, you start in with the part that you think you might know or understand, and you work your way around and see how much you want to take on in the restoration. It's up to you. Maybe for your first one, you just restore certain things. It's really on an individual basis. But whoops, where is that? Okay, there's a washer sitting here, right there, and I think it's I don't know what it's doing. Oh, I know what it does. It's maybe this is a collar that goes onto here, right? So we will see. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to get this cleaned up, and then we'll tune back in here with you guys when I'm hopefully getting ready to put it back together and see what happens. Put the new grease in. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.